Hey everyone, Jennifer here. Today I'm talking about the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon Variable ND, the Black Edition. This one I think is a little bit interesting considering they didn't really advertise it, so it kind of snuck in, but I happened to see an ad for it and I did pick it up, and I think you might be interested for a couple different reasons. So let's talk about what those are. I will show you some footage and show the filter to you. Keep it nice and simple. So one of the best things about this filter is that it is nearly $100 cheaper than the first two. So this puts it kind of in a better category for some people who maybe wanted to check it out, but thought, my lord, I can't spend $250 on a filter. The only compromises that I can see, which, I mean, I don't know if you care about it, but it does not have the haptic feedback like the Mist Edition had. And that was those little sort of hard stops in between the stops on the filter so that you could sort of blindly turn it and know that you had reached the next stop. I personally didn't really care that much about that. So if you don't mind not having that feature, this could definitely be something to look into. Something else that is very different from the first two is that it appears to have a little bit more of a neutral color as opposed to the very much blue cast on the Mist Edition and very much amber color cast on the original, both of which are really, really beautiful. So I was interested to see what this third one will look like, and it looks pretty neutral to me as far as I can tell. So another thing that I think will really interest people as far as trying to batch footage and just not having to worry about having that color cast when it's unnecessary for what you're trying to do. Couple things I really like about this filter is the case. So they actually got some pretty bad criticism for the first case that they made on the first edition filter because it came in this huge box with like a whole picture inside, and like it was like a keepsake box basically with tons of stuff in there, like 2 cases. It was kind of crazy. It was impressive, but people were like, this is highly unnecessary. So I know on the second one, they switched to like a recyclable or like plant-based box, and it was much simpler. So that was nice. It still had the kind of, unscrew the back kind of cap, and then it had a rubber front, or I guess maybe the first one had the rubber front. The second one has something similar, where you can essentially take off the back cap and then you can hold the front because it's got that rubber cap and screw it on without touching the filter, and then you sort of peel it off. It's actually very cool. But it is a little large, so you won't be like sitting it in a little unzippy part of your bag, with the mesh, if that makes sense. It's kind of large. So on the third one here with the Black Edition, they've actually made a case that is very compact. It's barely larger than the filter itself, and it's just very simple. It gets the job done. It's nice and durable, and it's got these rubber grooves in it, so you can just kind of put the filter in there and press it down into the grooves, and it won't be going anywhere. It sticks right in there, but it's very easy to kind of peel out of there, and it just feels really secure, and I really, really like that. A lot of filters, I feel they just come with either like a super cheesy, really throwaway case or sometimes a pouch, which I think some of these actually did come with pouches as well. I personally don't care for the pouch. I like the hard case. So in my opinion, this third version of the case is actually the best one they have done yet. So of course with Polar Pro, they're boasting the anti-scratch and the 16 layer of German glass, and they're also boasting a money-back guarantee. So I don't think you'll be disappointed by spending the money on this. There's only just one catch, and that's that they apparently only made 1,000 in each size. So you may want to hurry on over there as soon as you're done watching this video if you want to pick one up. I do think you'll think that it's worth it. So let's take a look at some footage. anybody who is actually wondering, why the heck do I need ND? Is this something that's really necessary? I'm going to tell you right now, if you have purchased a camera and a lens and you have nothing else, the next thing you need is an ND. Before you need a microphone, before you need lights, before you need anything. Now, if you're just shooting inside the studio, you don't need an ND filter. But if you're planning to go outside at all during the daylight, you need an ND filter. There is no amount of upgrades to your camera or lenses or any sort of tricks that you can do or color grading that will fix your footage if the highlights are blown off the charts. You need to have ND. It is essential. It's one of those things that myself and I know a lot of people are like, do I really want to spend a bunch of money on this stupid filter? Like, in the beginning I was like, polarizer, whatever. I really was. And it's like, I think back to that and I'm just like, how is that even possible? Why did I not care? Because nobody said to me, look, you're wrong. You need to care. So yes, you need an ND filter. You don't have to buy this one, but you need an ND filter. It's going to make a world of change in your footage. So I am using ND mostly for weddings because I'm recording a lot of video in the studio just for YouTube mostly. Other than that, I'm doing weddings and sometimes I'm doing family stuff and newborns inside the house where I don't need ND. So primarily using this ND for weddings, and I will show a little bit of footage from that. It makes just the most insane difference. I will actually put a clip up from this wedding I did last year with ND and without, because there was one point that we were doing photo and video, and there was a point where we actually like ran back down to get another shot later in the day by the water, and we actually had taken the ND off because we were shooting photos with the same camera. And so we had a couple shots in the film that didn't have ND, and like probably the clients have no idea and didn't notice, but you will definitely see that it looks like a nice clip and then one of them looks absolutely spectacular. And that is the difference between having ND and not. And that was on an overcast day, so like there was no like bright sun in the shot. Had there been bright sun, we would have been in trouble because we would have never been able to get the exposure without the ND. That's enough of me talking about that for now. So if we're in the market, I think this is a really good price. I think the quality is amazing for the price. If you're buying other ND around $100, I would say this is probably miles beyond that. However, don't take my word for it. There are other great brands that have good prices. I just picked up a Prism Lens Effects ND for Christmas. Actually, I got it for Christmas, and I believe it was $100, and it is really great. So feel free to look around. This filter though, when you look at the glass and the image, you're going to be blown away, I promise. I do have also a tiny disclaimer about the whole Peter McKinnon Polar Pro thing. I know that there are some people that think that the price is ridiculous and they're only charging this much because Peter's name is on it, and they don't agree with that. Well, I think the whole point of collaboration is to bring people together who want something or have a like mind. In other words, Peter McKinnon fans are probably photo video people, and Polar Pro is trying to sell a really good product. So why not put these people together so that they can create something awesome that people can use? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's a problem with being a fan of his or buying products because his name is on it, especially if they're good quality. And I think he's somebody that you can trust. I do. And if you don't trust somebody who's a YouTuber, that's fine. But I also don't think these brands like Canon and stuff like that would be working with him if he wasn't a trustworthy person. So try to believe. That's it for me. Let me know in the comments what you think about the footage, and if you have any interest in this filter, and if you pick it up, what you plan to do with it. Peace.